Soto, you know what's weird? It's it's been almost 2 years, 2 years since we started Twitch and YouTube. Does not even seem that long ago, but
What?
we
Really?
started almost, yeah, because it was October, so we're kind of closing in. But it dawned on me because if you include our shorts, we've hit like 200 videos. We have a
What the
shit
hell?
ton. I know.
It's ridiculous.
But I remember, because I came to you as an idea because I wanted to leave my old channel and I wanted to do something
Hmm.
new. And at that time, I think we did more. We were talking about streaming more, and YouTube was kind of going to just be more like the highlights and stuff from our
Hmm.
streaming. And now it's kind of
Yeah.
vice versa. But I do remember, when one of the first our first video was when we started doing podcasts, and we talked about our 10 most influential games, and that was kind of cool. We just talked about the games we loved that made us into gamers. I mean, I had a good time about
Pitfall 2.
Pitfall 2. Yes, Pitfall 2 was for me a substantial game, but it gave me an idea, and I kind of want to use this as kind of a reflection of what we've done, but maybe somewhere going forward. But we're
Yeah.
blockbuster guys. That's how we
Hmm.
met. We
Yes.
need to do top 10 influential movies. We have to.
Oh.
That's our next. Yes, so that's our next step. We'll talk about that offline.
Oh.
You know.
Oh my God.
Spoiler alert for something coming up project wise, but when we're
Oh,
how. But going
movies.
back, let's get away from the movie talk. But the podcast, we had a lot of
Yes.
fun. What were your
Yeah.
thoughts of us doing the podcast? From videos to we started doing live podcasts. But what were your thoughts and enjoyments of doing those podcasts?
I think we just took something that we normally do, which is a lot of the times before we're going to go streaming or before when we meet up, like, every week we have these kind of offline conversations about a bunch of stuff. And as you and I have worked and known each other for all these years, we always get in these really dumb kind of discussions about just pop culture and video games and movies. And so I think that it was really fun to just do what we normally do, and talk about what we normally talk about and get it down like in a YouTube video. So it feels very natural, because again, this is something that you and I would be doing, I think, even if we weren't recording these. Whether before we play any video game together or talk about anything, we're always talking about what's currently going on in games, our opinions about prices in games, many, many themes. But it was really fun to try to just get what you and I normally talk about and put it in something that other people can watch and hopefully laugh along.
Yeah, because outside the podcast, we did a lot of what I like to call stream highlights. We would watch
Hmm.
each other play, whether it's Blair
Clips.
Witch,
Oh
Resident
God, I
Evil
was so
8. You had
drunk.
you had a
So
couple
drunk,
great
dude.
Resident Evil 8, but I have to admit, one of our first, for me, big streaming moments, and that I had a lot of fun with, is when we got a lot of people. We did the Among Us, the
Oh
streaming
my
event
God.
where we had like
Yeah.
15 of us. I think it ended up being.
Yes.
It was
Yep.
crazy, but I had so much fun, and I think it was just because of all the different personalities. It's not a game you have to think hard about. You just kill your friends and try and guess who it is. So, I
That
personally,
shit
that
was
was like the first
hilarious.
moment where I was like, I'm having a lot of fun. I'm meeting a lot of new people, and I enjoyed it. And I think starting from there is when we started doing a little bit more videos and stuff like that. But
Yeah. Yeah.
I was going to say that led into another idea, which we kind of started doing a little bit, was the demo reviews. If you remember, our first
Hmm.
one was Monarch. Now we've had, way
Yes.
back. That was our first. That's our
Have you
initial
bought
art.
it yet? Have you
No,
purchased it? No?
I gotta have time to play it yet. Yeah, I think it
Have
had
you
it's
bought this
1 year
game?
under. I stopped watching it, but no, that was our first kind of big video because I think at the time it kind of shot up to 60 because a lot of people were searching it. But what have
Yeah.
you thought about, because we've done a lot, 6 or 7, I don't know where we're at on demo
Hmm.
reviews. What were your thoughts on some of those games and enjoyments of it? Is there any of those that you'll actually play? I don't know if you remember all of them.
I do. I mean, I am not going to play Monarch. I think I'd say I bought it. I would buy $20 for it. I think that's still too high, just because of the time uh, constraints. But the one game that we did a demo of that I absolutely want to play again and that I keep watching to see the price go down, would definitely be Forspoken.
Hmm.
That one was one that I had a really fun time playing the demo of, and that I can think of that it's actually the only game that I would purchase from the videos that we've done. I'm not sure I would do Bramble, but I just know that when I get into Forspoken, I'm gonna play it a lot. I liked it, and it's gonna be an easy platinum to do as well. But I enjoy it. It's a great way to kind of see what's coming up. Um, I don't know. Maybe Monarch got better. There was another one that we played that was kind of dumb. Um, I forget which one it was
Well, let's
called.
see. Yeah, we had Bramble. You mentioned that. I am definitely gonna
Yes.
eventually play that. Resident Evil 4. I eventually will. I'm gonna wait till it's cheap because I beat the original and obviously Resident Evil 16.
I
Um,
played Resident Evil 4 so many times in my life, man. Yeah, that's why like I have no interest in playing it.
yeah, that's why under 20, 10, $15, One Piece Odyssey. I am interested in. That was a cool game.
That's
But
fun.
that was pretty much yeah. That's pretty much the outside of the six. But once we got past a lot of the gaming and the we were doing podcasts, there was something that we kind of got into a comedy route. And I don't know if you even remember this. We did basically old guys learning current slang. This was probably
Of course.
our first real successful one because that one shot up. People loved it. But you were hilarious, dude. And for those who don't know it, yeah, I basically got like current slang words from today's kids to see if Soto
Yeah.
knew it. And I
Uh-huh.
think because you work with kids, you knew majority of them, and I was
Literally.
impressed. But that was some funny shit. And that's when I'm like, oh my god, there's something to it. Us just
Yeah.
bullshitting, you know.
Yeah. It can be fun. Yeah, I mean, that to me is a very specific time in my life, and I had just learned these words. I think like the week before we did this video. But you're right. Super fun, and it's the first time that we kind of applied what we do. I mean, a lot of the fun that I've had in making content and doing what we've been doing for the last couple of years, some of the random ass moments that we have in games and that comedy, like and then translating that to like videos is, again, the thing that always comes to mind when I think about us playing is, um, the very specific moment in was it Resident Evil 6 where I hit you with the bus and I was drunk off my ass. On the other side, you're like fighting for your goddamn life. And I come right in with the bus through the fucking thing. And I don't think that's the first time either of us has been hit by a truck in any video game or anything like that. But
No,
like,
I was gonna say Zombie Army, either the trilogy or four. Same thing happened. I was ahead of you, and we were playing with Mel, and this tank or bus or whatever came by, and you're watching it. And I think you're like, that's not gonna hit Chad, is it? And it ended up running me over.
so I think that natural kind of comedy stuff that happens, it happens with us spontaneously, and I think that in the videos that we do, it's fun to capture that because that's some of our best moments, whether it's Rotten Taste or demos or any other videos. It's really those random ass moments that I end up going back to. I think one of my favorite things about Roadhouse is you calling it Bar Fights the movie. Because when I rewatch it, I'm just like, this is fucking Bar Fights the movie. That is the best way to describe it. Absolutely fantastic.
Well, it's funny that you brought up Rotten Taste, because that's kind of next chronologically for us. It's this
Yeah.
idea kind of came from you, and this was actually going
Mm.
to be a podcast idea where you were going to talk
Mm-hmm.
about all the bad movies that we love, not necessarily bad, but like cheesy. And I was like, dude, we can't, because I think we were going to try and do 10. And I'm like, the way me and you talk about movies, like, there's no
I
way we can
know.
get 10 in a half an hour, let alone an hour. And
Mm-hmm.
that's how Rod Taste started as a thing. You came up with the name, and it worked. But yeah, Men at Work, and I think Over the Top, we did two at the same time,
Yeah. Oh
and it's
yeah.
kind of evolved. And out of all the Rontes, because there's a lot of different ones. Like you mentioned Roadhouse. Coincidentally, like Roadhouse and Hudson Hawk were two of my least favorites. And I don't, and there were jokes in Roadhouse and even jokes, but I just think I didn't love the movies as other ones, other movies
Sure.
we've done. So my heart
Yeah.
wasn't in it, though it's funny because Roadhouse is our most successful one, weirdly enough. But which,
It's
I
funny.
don't, it, it is. I think
It's
now that I think in the moment I wasn't enjoying it, but listening
yeah.
back, I'm okay with it. Hudson Hawk, I think if I had to pick a worse one, it's that. And I think I was too over prepared for it. But anyhow,
Yeah.
out of all the ones we've done, which one has been your favorite, or which ones have been your favorites ones to do?
Well, I always gauge it on which ones I find to be fun, and I always think that those are going to be the best ones, and typically they're not. Um, but I had such a fucking blast when we did the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles trilogy all at the same time. Like, we recorded it in a row, and it just got progressively dumber and dumber as it went along. But that I remember just going from a recording standpoint and having fun standpoint of all these videos. That one was the one that I felt like I laughed the most. I know that the Dreamy Little Dream is probably a close second because we laughed a lot with Mel too. Um, but the Ninja Turtles one was just fucking hilarious. Oh my God, so good.
I agree. I think having a guest kind of gives it a nice dynamic, from the
Yeah.
Dream a Little Dream, the Phantom Menace. But I do agree with you, the Turtles trilogy, and I think part of that was we did it back to back, and I think you could hear it, especially I know in my voice, I was so burnt out by the third one. I mean, we were talking about turtle dicks, dude, because
We were.
from the
We were.
toy.
It devolved.
But it was hilarious
Sure
and it
did.
worked. It was so much. But I think that also worked more, because of our loves, all of our loves for the Turtles. We grew up watching the
Yeah.
Turtles, and I think that was part of it. But what's funny is like when we started this channel, one thing I didn't want to do, we started kind of ended up doing. Like I didn't want to do like Let's Plays. I'm not big on watching Let's
Oh,
Plays.
sure.
But then we did like Man of Medan, Little Hope, The Pizza Boy, and I think we just
Oh
made
my
it
God, Pizza
funny.
Boy.
Pizza Boy. Could you believe we did the Pizza Boy delivery Pizza Boy that saves the world? Um,
Oh my God, who plays that game? Oh, I can't believe we don't have more views because people are like, "What the fuck is this game?"
I think a few parts too, but it's a tough one to watch because it's a visual novel kind of game. But it was so we ended up making that so fun. The pizza cutting game alone was just
Oh my God,
hilarious.
dude. So funny. Oh, I was fucking dying. That shit, that game it probably cost what, less than $5, I want to say.
Had to have, yeah.
And it was just phenomenal. And yeah, just an absolutely great time. I mean, I don't know. The Let's Play stuff, I'm cool with it. I like the short stuff because I think that sometimes things just happen that you just can't recreate. One of the things that comes to mind is just, we're playing, Back for Blood, and one of our bots just flies up into the air and stuff like that. You just can't plan shit like that.
Mom,
You know what I mean?
mom.
There are a lot, Mom. There's a lot of little moments like that that happen to us while we're gaming that we don't necessarily like. Sometimes with a Let's Play, you may not capture it because, um, not a lot of people want to sit through like a whole entire like maybe like 12, 15-minute video and maybe catch one thing of gold. So, but I love the clips and the shorts uh, because they kind of just they'll capture those random moments. Obviously me getting my hand cut off in Resident Evil 8. Was
Yep,
that village? Yep.
yep.
That whole sequence, first meeting,
Lady D.
that big big lady vampire. That whole thing was just absolutely bananas. And again, the whole baby thing. I mean, that game was just horrifying. I probably shouldn't have played it as drunk as I did. I
But
think that
that's what makes those
exacerbated it.
videos.
But oh my God, dude, I
When we're
legit. Those are my actual emotions and my feelings. It's not me faking it. I am actually shitting my pants when I play those games. There's no way around it. I hate scary games. I hate being in them. I hate when things get like really intense like that. It's just no. So probably more to come now that it's starting to get to spooky season. So we'll
Yes,
talk more
yes.
about that.
We got another round of Halloween run and taste and House of Ashes. Once we're done with
Oh
Eternal, but
God.
no, I agree. I think it's when I was kind of going through Back for Blood. While there were some moments, I kind of miss having more of the montage, the dumb montages. I like the quick and the stupid shit that we did. And I think that's something that you definitely need to do. I am always a fan of dumb montages, but then we kind of did a big ambitious project, and it ended up being 10 videos long. We did this live
Oh yeah.
actually,
Hmm.
and I kind of came up with the idea. Film battles is what we ended up calling it, but like which decade was the best, 80s, 90s, zeros, two. And we had like this process of but I had a lot of fun, and I think that's just because we were talking about good movies for once outside of some of the shitty ones we do.
Yeah.
But
Mostly good
this
movies. Mostly good movies.
I mean, even the ones we didn't like, technically, you could say were good because they were successful because they're basically
Oh
40
yeah.
of the top grossing ones. But,
Hmm.
I mean, I look back now and we had that one. It was like Return of the Jedi versus Return of the King versus Jurassic Park. And then we had Hunger Games Catching Fire. It's
Yeah,
just,
which I just I just have no idea about.
but I definitely would like us to definitely do more of that movie stuff. And hopefully, since we earlier talked about that 10 influential films. So, But one of the last things, though, that we've only done one video on, and we might, we talked about turning the series, going back to good movies, was like the best and worst scene in a movie. And we did
Oh
Pulp
yeah,
Fiction
that's
because that
right.
one is our most favorite movie. Um, but yeah, that one I would like to do more of, and hopefully we can. But what were your thoughts about watching Pulp Fiction again? I mean, it's a great movie, but
That's a great movie. It's one of my favorite movies. Obviously, we've talked about it, and to kind of go back to the film battles thing, it would be awesome to talk about directors. I know we mentioned that, but I digress back to Pulp Fiction. Just speaking of Quentin Tarantino, but it's great to watch. It's again, you always watch movies at different parts of your life, and you feel certainly about them in different ways as you grow up. But Pulp Fiction has been pretty consistent for me. And it was nice to kind of just rewatch it with that, mentality of like, okay, what's the best and what's the worst? Uh, because, like I said, you realize how good it is, especially that opening scene. The more you watch it, but more projects like that, I'd be definitely all about because that was a really good time.
it was. So I know we've kind of had a nice little history of our past videos, and I think
Hmm.
one thing personally, and I know we keep talking about like we need to do more streaming because it's just fun. But outside of us talking about more streaming, is there any kind of videos, things you might want to see more on our channel or do on our channel that we haven't done in the past, or maybe something to do in the future, just something you might want to do differently?
Not that I can think of really. I mean, I'd like to continue. I'd like to go more towards again like streaming and then getting shorts off of those streams. Doing those demo videos, I really really enjoy. Um, Continuing to like ask how much we would pay for certain things. Um, but yeah, I guess if I had to, I'd say more opportunities to watch better movies just to give me a break from Rotten Taste because I'll tell you, I'm not looking forward to what's going to happen in October based off last October, which was Sharks of the Corn, which I can barely even consider that a movie, although it is. I shudder to think of what we're going to get into in this coming season.
Well, speaking of which, just to
Oh
give
no.
the people who have listened this far, what's coming up. We will do our 10 most influential films, and those who remember our video game podcast know we did a separate one for Final Fantasy VII because that was both of our favorites. So I have a feeling
Yes.
we're going to do a separate one for Pulp Fiction because that's our number one. So we'll have that. House of Ashes, we talked about Let's Play.
Yep.
That's going to be just in time for the Halloween season. But yes, we will talk about Rotten Taste Halloween movies, and we'll pick three like we did last year. But Soto, we have to go back and do something like Sharks of the Corn again. I think that needs to become a tradition. It doesn't, we will look there, whether it's a shark movie or not, but we need to do one of those cheesy, to be free horror movies, and that needs to
Yeah.
be our Halloween movie. But yes, those are things to come, in the coming months. But if there's anything you'd like us to talk about on our channel, let us know. Thank you for listening this long. But yeah, we just kind of want
Yes.
to give an
Thank
update,
you.
kind of review. It's been 2 years, and since we sat down at
Whew.
Adunos talking about what we wanted to do, and
Oh my God, that's right. It's always Uno's.
it's
This
our
is not
go-to.
sponsored by Uno's, okay? This is not a podcast sponsored by Uno's, although Uno's, if you
If you
want
want to,
to, our communication is open for that. Feel free to DM us. We won't be mad about it if there even still are Uno's, but it's always a fucking Uno's where these these things happen. I don't know what it is. Must be pizza. It's the Chicago style. You love Chicago.
I do definitely. But
This is your
the
fault.
it is, and I will take full blame for that. But for those who have watched our channel from the beginning or whatever videos, thank you. We appreciate every view, everything we get, and
Hmm.
there's still more to
Yes.
come. Just because this summer we've kind of been slowed down on a bit, we have plenty that we want to do this coming season. So thank you all for
Hmm.
watching us. We
Thank
appreciate
you.
it.